If you don't own these 7 fishing products, John Cena just might hit you with one of his 5 moves of doom.
John Cena zeroing in on Jack Swagger.
Okay, maybe he won't, but I might. But what are these 7 fishing products and how can they help you catch more bass in 2024? My name's Tyler, and let's talk about it. Another giant, another giant. Look at that, y'all. I can't believe what I just caught. Yes! Now, I know that product videos, especially on YouTube around the holidays, can be incredibly sales pushy, and I want this video to look nothing like that. I fish probably 100 days a year, and there are tons of products, both with companies I work with and sponsored by, and ones that I'm not, that help me a ton in my fishing journey and help me catch more bass. And I think these 7 products especially will help you do the same. And item number 1 on my list that I think every angler needs is a drop shot setup. Now, a drop shot rig, if you're unfamiliar, I'm gonna have you pause the video right now and watch the video linked in the video description. It is my drop shot masterclass. I think it hit 200,000 subscribers, which just goes to show how many folks out there want to throw this rig. And the reason for the drop shot success is because, in my opinion, it is the perfect finesse application. As our bodies of water get more and more pressured, fish see a lot of the same crankbaits, they see a lot of the same Texas rigs, they see a lot of the same topwaters, and I know that bass have the brain the size of a sweet pea, but they still have a brain, and so they get used to and conditioned to certain lures. And a drop shot, I don't care how many times a bass sees it, for some reason is still tantalizing enough to get in their face. Now, besides needing a medium or medium light spinning rod for your drop shot setup, at least in my opinion, the number 1 thing, and really the number 1 item on my list that of course goes along with a drop shot, is my new favorite drop shot hook. And spoiler alert, the favorite drop shot hook by far, regardless of sponsorship, on all the pro tours, and that is the VMC Redline Finesse Nico hook. Now, despite this thing saying Finesse Nico, it's not necessarily just a Nico rig hook or a Neko rig. Of course, you can use it as such. You can have a wacky rig worm, put this thing right through the middle, put a weight on one side, and it's a fantastic Nico rig setup. But this hook right here is perfect for threading your soft plastic stick baits, your soft plastic fluke style baits for drop shots, and also for rigging a Texas rig style worm like the Strike King filler worm or any other 4 to 6 inch ultra thin finesse worm. And like I talked about in my drop shot masterclass, there are 3 main ways to rig a drop shot, but my 2 favorite are the Texas rig, the weedless, and the thread, and this hook right here fits the bill perfectly for both. Now, the confusing part about hooks in the fishing industry is the sizes. What size do you need? You know, if you are able to go and see the hooks in person at Bass Pro, Cabela's, whatever brick and mortar store, you can easily see, all right, this hook is the right one for me. But as you guys know, I partner with Tackle Warehouse. I would love for you guys to shop at the links down below. And so what size of the drop shot hook should you get? I think the number 1 size is perfect. And that is great for your smaller smallmouth spotted bass soft plastics, as well as, I would say, all the way up to the Strike King filler worm. If you're gonna drop shot any craw or fluke style or worm bigger than like your average drop shot soft plastic, maybe go with the 1/0. But I'm telling you guys, the number 1 here is a fantastic drop shot hook, like I said, for both threading and Texas rig. And if you don't have one, get yourself one. They make one also in a non-redline version, and that one is great as well. It's a slightly cheaper option, and I will have that linked down in the video description along with everything I talk about. But the redline is coated in, is it vanadium steel? PTFE coating, vanadium steel, and a monofilament bait keeper on the front. It is an awesome, awesome hook, and I will go through maybe a pack of these every 6 months to a year. I mean, they last so long, and as long as you're not getting snagged, which you shouldn't be on the Texas rig drop shot, these things will last a long, long time. Now, the number 2 item on my list, I've got to reach into my kind of smorgasbord tackle box here, and that is a crankbait, but not just any crankbait. You guys know it is my favorite crankbait on the face of the planet, I guess besides deep diving, but as far as shallow diving goes, and that is the Strike King Hybrid Hunter. I don't know what it is about this crankbait. And you can say in the comment section all day long, Tyler, you're just saying this because you're sponsored by Strike King. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, I would be throwing this crankbait on camera even if I wasn't sponsored by Strike King. It is that special of a crankbait. Now, the question is, what makes it special? I'm not quite sure. It has a stair-stepped bill that definitely gives it an interesting action in the water. It bounces off sticks. It bounces off rocks. It comes through grass even better than a lipless crankbait does in that 1 to 4 foot water depth. It is a fantastic shallow diving crankbait, and especially if you fish in ponds like the one behind me, and your pond is not filled with all kinds of mucky snot grass, then you want the Hybrid Hunter. I don't know what it is, like I said, but it catches fish for me all year round, even in in the coldest of months, when the jerkbait isn't getting bites in those fish, maybe you want something a little faster, the Hybrid Hunter is fantastic, but especially when it comes, like this video here is for 2024, especially if it comes to the pre-spawn spring bite. I have caught a 10-pounder, I've caught an 8-pounder, I've caught 7-pounders, and of course a plethora of 3 to 4 pounders on this bait right here. If you need a personal best broken and you have rocks and grass in your body of water, throw this stinking crankbait in any red variation this spring. And I can't promise it, but I can about as close as I can get to promising a new PB on this crankbait right here. And like I said, all this stuff will be linked down in the video description. And that brings us to item number 3, which also happens to be a lure. The first 3 are lures, the last 4 are not, and that is a jig. If you're not throwing a jig, you are missing out on catching a bigger than average bite than all your buddies. And I know that jigs kind of have a little bit of course, intrigue, but also a little bit of unknown, uncertainty, fear to them, because they're a bigger, bulkier package. The hook is usually a thicker wire hook than your average Texas rig, especially thicker than your average drop shot or Texas rig worm. And so just throwing this thing, casting it, getting it stuck can be frustrating because the whole package is $5 to $6. And so a lot of guys don't throw a jig, but I'm telling you, if 2024 is not the year to throw a jig, I don't know what is. And in my opinion, the jig is actually a better presentation, a more efficient fish catching presentation than a Texas rig in the vast majority of situations. I catch more bass on a jig than a T-rig under docks, underneath overhanging trees, in brush piles, especially around deeper grass. I just get a bigger bite, and oftentimes more bites, at least more bites that matter, bigger ones, on a jig than I do a Texas rig. The great thing, the number one thing that's perfect about a jig is that it is one cohesive package. You don't have the weight sliding up your line. You don't have anything kind of looking unnatural. It is a perfect looking crawfish or bluegill imitation. And if you haven't thrown the jig, you should. I will have my favorite 2, kind of a budget jig and a more expensive quality tungsten jig linked down in the video description. I work with Outcast Tackle. They are a fantastic jig company. And if you don't know how to throw it and you're not having confidence, I will leave my newest jig video down in the video description, teaching you everything you have to know about the jig. Now, leaving lures aside, number 4 on my list is going to be probably something only quasi-related to fishing, but is especially related to the outdoors. And I think every fisherman out there, regardless of age, regardless of socioeconomic status, where you live, what kind of bass you go for, needs a good quality sweatshirt. In my opinion, the best sweatshirt that's lasted me for years and years, I still have ones that I wore 5-6 years ago, is the AFCO Reaper. This is probably the most high quality sweatshirt I've ever worn. And of course, I have the Infinite Outdoors, my merch brand, printed on the black AFCO Reaper in a brand new restock on the website. I will have it linked below, infiniteoutdoors.com. That's my merch brand, as well as we just put up some brand new hats, the black leather patch, and just for y'all watching this video, we have white marble leather patch, and we have a few, I think we only have 5 or 7 red Infinite Outdoors leather patch hats. These things are not going to last long, and like I said, they are only on the website for a very short amount of time, but it's not about the hats, it's about the sweatshirt. If you are fishing in cold weather, anything above, I'd say 35 degrees. Below that, you need some really big, big, heavy duty, AFCO bibs and cold gear. But when it comes to just the 30s, 40s, all the way up to like the 70s, I've even worn this thing in like the 80s. You can wear an AFCO Reaper. It is fantastic. It's got a hood, of course. It's got the built-in neck buff. It's actually built correct for your face. This thing fits amazing, and it supports an awesome cause in my merch. Again, I'll have it linked below, and if it sells out below, I will have just the regular AFCO Reaper in a whole bunch of colors from AFCO.com. And even if you don't want an AFCO sweatshirt, I'm just telling you guys, every fisherman needs a good solid sweatshirt with a neck buff built in, and you're gonna have a lot more success on the water because you feel better, you're warmer, you're not as cold, you can last longer on the water, and that's because of a good sweatshirt. Doesn't have to be AFCO. That's the company I work with and the one that I promote. Now, for item number 5 on my list, we have my top 3 rod and reel combos and in which order to buy them. If you are just getting into bass fishing, maybe the end of 2023 into 2024, or you're helping somebody in your family, in your life, get into bass fishing, I'm gonna make a more detailed video on like the top 6 to 7 rod combos, in which order to buy them. But when it comes to 3, which in my opinion, for bank fishermen, for kayak fishermen, for boat fishermen hopping in somebody's boat for the day, 3 is a fantastic number as far as fishing combos go, and you can do this for relatively cheap with all the mock combos out there. But the number 1 rod, I'm gonna say in order, that every angler needs is a spinning rod. And if you were to ask me that same question 4 or 5 years ago, I was all about the baitcaster. I hated the spinning rod. probably partially just for the sake of the YouTube title and thumbnail, you know, spinning rods are for wussies. But the more and more that I fished, that's why it was number one on my list. Finesse tactics are needed as a bass fisherman, no matter where you fish. Not even bass, even walleye, panfish, a spinning rod is a fantastic rod to get somebody of any age who's getting into the sport. Not as many ways to screw up and get a backlash and lose all your line. Yes, there are wind knots associated with spinning rods, but every activity is going to have some negatives to it. But a spinning rod is my first rod to buy, either a 7-foot medium or medium light. If you are going more the wacky rig, shaky head route, light Texas rigs, I would go medium. If you want to go right ahead throwing a drop shot and that's your only finesse tactic, not a bad idea. I would go with a 7-foot medium light, and I will have my favorite drop shot mock combo listed down in the video description. Now, my number 2 rod that I recommend to every beginner bass fisherman they get to kind of broaden the amount of lures they can throw efficiently is, of course, a bait caster. And from here on out, maybe until like 5 or 6 when I'd recommend a second spinning rod, is going to be a bait caster. Now, if you are the type of angler that loves to throw reaction baits, what I mean by that is lures that cause a reaction in the fish and usually are hard, plastic, and have treble hooks on them. If that's the case for you in your bodies of water, crankbaits, jerk baits, small top waters like poppers, small walking baits, small buzz baits, lipless crankbaits, that kind of stuff, vibrating jig spinner baits, all of those are reaction baits, and I would recommend getting maybe a 6'10" to 7'2" medium power rod. Now, if you're gonna go more into the jigs, the big worms, the large topwater frogs over nasty vegetation, and that's the bodies of water that you fish, that's what it presents to you, I would recommend a 7'3" medium heavy, my favorite all-purpose topwater rod with some 50-pound braid. And so both of these are number 2, number 3, or number 2, number 3. It just depends which one do you find yourself fishing and having success with in your bodies of water more often. That will direct which one to get next. And like I said, I will have my favorite reaction bait combo and my favorite topwater combo linked down in the video description. But that's the 3 rods I think every angler needs. There's a whole lot more I could talk about, but as far as item number 5 goes, that's the 3 rod and reels that I would recommend you try to pick up in 2024. Now, the next thing I have to talk about is this thing in my hand right here, my fishing net. And you might have seen me talk about this before. You've for sure seen it in videos. It is a pretty stinking awesome fishing net. And let me show you why. Instead of like reaching both hands out there with a net, if you're fishing by yourself in a kayak or a boat, you literally put your arm in the holster right here, wham, bam, slam, scoop the fish up, rod in this hand, scoop it up. I got a 14-pounder in the net right here with one hand into the boat. I'm just telling you guys, a good quality net, especially one that doesn't hurt the fish, that has rubber things right here, rubber, whatever this is, neoprene holes. 1, will save the bass's slime coat, and number 2, it will allow treble hooked lures like this here to not get stuck all up in your net material. And I just love this net right here. It's my favorite. I've used quite a lot of things over the years, but nothing quite as consistently as Skeeter Boats, AFCO clothes, and this net right here. And to collapse it, you go just like that. It folds up nice and easily. And again, for demonstration purposes, that's so stinking cool. And especially if you like to fish by yourself, this net right here is fantastic. It's made by Yakima or Yak Attack. And just like everything, I will have this linked down in the video description. And the last thing, number 7 on my list for 2024 fishing necessities, is a good pair of polarized sunglasses. Now, I don't care what brand you get. I work with Amphibia. I've worked with them in the past. They are awesome sunglasses because you couldn't see that. They float. It's floating out there. I gotta get them back now though. Come on. They float, but they don't fetch. Amphibia sunglasses, or whatever brand you want. If they're polarized, you need them as a bass fisherman. And not only will a good pair of polarized sunglasses protect your eyes from the sun and the glare off the water, I have found that they actually allow me to fish longer on the water. And I know it's kind of an anecdotal personal experience, but I found the less that I wear sunglasses on the water, even on cloudy, dark sky conditioned days, the less I wear them, the more I get a headache, the more that I have to actually strain because the sun is still penetrating, still making its way through. And so I actually get a headache a lot sooner on the water if I'm not wearing sunglasses. So just like guys that don't wear sun shirts on the water, that don't protect their face and their nose and eyes from the wind, polarized sunglasses are usually also not worn by those guys. And let me tell you something, you're gonna catch more fish because you're gonna be able to be out there on the water longer by using polarized sunglasses. And of course, Amphibia is the company that I work with. I think code TRF2025 gets you 25% off, and they're also running a huge 50% off sale right now, and I will have it linked, just like everything, in the video description. I gotta stop saying that. I think y'all understand. Now, these 7 things are gonna help any bass fisherman out there, but I have found 3 key behaviors to learn as a bass fisherman that have helped me catch way more fish, and all the successful anglers I know also do these 3 things, and I will leave that video teaching those 3 up here in the corner. My name's Tyler. As always, it is a pleasure, and we'll see you guys next time right here on TRF.
You can't see me. Are we going to see a 5-knuckle shuffle?